This is
By the way, I'm
Ishimi.
using this mirroring device to just see if
She's
I'm
just getting
properly
past her
placed, 'cause
ADHD
I'm actually using
episode
my phone
before
to record
getting to the
this,
good
and I'm
stuff.
curious to
Bear
see
with
how
her.
the quality will come out. So we are both in this together. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, my beautiful girly pops. I've missed you, and honestly, my heart is dedicated to being more on YouTube now. I'm going to be transitioning a bit more, and I know I've been struggling with YouTube. I'm going to push myself. The goal is to do one YouTube video a month. In order for me to transition into that area, I need to push myself to do one YouTube video a week until I'm comfortable to get to the baseline of doing it a month by holding myself accountable to that standard and to you as well. So let's get into it. First, let's clock the date. Right now, we are currently June 2nd, 2025. A lot has happened. The world is in a disarray in a lot of places, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, politically. You know what? We are baddies. We are women who protect our energy. We grow, we become who we're meant to be, and we don't let the world change us or shift our energy as we move. And I know that's really hard to do, especially most women being empaths, but we have to. Okay, I should probably give you guys an update of where I've been and what I've been doing. And yeah, I think the last video that I uploaded was in January. Also, I was in a relationship back then, and then we broke up in like, was it February, March? And I've just been taking the time to heal and find myself again. And I just went on a trip to Europe with one of my friends I went to 4 different countries, and I feel like I've filled my cup. I've enlightened my heart. I've seen what I want to see, opened my mind and my soul up to new possibilities. That has finally brought me here. And also with the current events of everything that's happening, and for the girls, the female collective is awakening, and it's such a beautiful thing to see because women are starting to really realize, especially when it comes to the idealism of love and romanticizing a certain life, marriage being the goal, kids being the goal, nuclear family being the goal. Women are more and more waking up to the idea that it is not the end goal of being a woman who's aligned in their true, authentic self. It would be nice to have that, but it's not the goal. The goal is to know yourself, the deepest version of yourself, being authentic to who you are, doing the things that make you happy, and moving with that, and not waiting for people and things and opportunities to define your happiness. A lot of people romanticize on that Disney fairy tale. I'm gonna get married, have my fairy tale wedding, have my fairy tale family. I hate to break it to you, but 8 out of 10 times, it's not what it seems. That women are waking up to the fact that everything that was advertised to us was never really what it seemed to be. That is a scary realization, but it's also propelling women to do the work and take the initiative to choose themselves and be happy in this moment instead of choosing to basically chase after the happiness and the thrill of waiting for happiness in the future to come to them, because we're not waiting for things to come to us to be happy and to choose ourselves anymore. We don't have to. We have choice, and we have to choose wisely, right? And also some other things that's happened to me this year that's definitely shifted my quality of life has been my relationship with God, okay? Let me explain this on a deeper level. It might seem outlandish. A lot of you will be like, what is she talking about? But just listen. And I'm also still discovering a lot. I've been on this whole spiritual transformation and emotional and mental journey for about 5 years, and I don't think it's ever truly over. I do feel so much more clearer and lighter with all this newfound information. My soul has definitely shifted so much, and I want to share it with you. Where do I even begin with this journey? This journey has been such a beautiful journey. I was a born and raised Christian. I'm still Christian. I still identify as a Christian. I feel like I'm a different type of Christian. I'm not Bible Christian or church Christian. I'm Christian in the sense where I believe in God. God is all around me. God is wherever I go. Okay? Me, yes, I know the Bible in context and certain things, but I don't believe everything in the Bible. I take the important parts of what is God's voice versus what I believe truly men wrote in a book, truthfully. And a lot of spiritual texts in this world have been written in a way that it's used to control certain groups, certain minorities. And I feel like if no one knows this or doesn't want to believe it, you don't have to believe it. But I've been through spiritual transformation after spiritual transformation and trying to figure out my relationship spiritually. And I've always believed in God. Okay, I never fully walked away from God, meaning I feel God's presence the moment I wake up, in every breath I take, in every bite I take. It's encompassing versus people typically to find God or feel God's presence, they need to open the book of the Bible. They need to go to church in 4 walls to feel God's presence. Truly in your feminine divinity, God is with you wherever you go. And if you notice in the Bible, God has always gone to the woman, okay? Has always went and found the woman, always heard a woman's prayer. Versus a man has to always go to the mountaintops, go for days on days of journeys, months on months, and years on years of journeys just to hear God's voice. But God comes to us where we are. The fact that people don't understand, we bring life into this world. Women bring life into this world. Therefore, God's relationship with women is vastly different than which of God has with men, because men actually have to work, be disciplined in order to meet God. They have to have discipline and control over themselves in order to meet God. Otherwise, God won't show themselves. And that's why women and men are made differently. Women are able to control their lust to a far higher degree than men. Women are able to control their lust versus men are controlled by their lust. And a huge realization that I've had is that men are jealous of women. I heard this TikToker speak about this a few months ago, and that led me to another awakening. I'm like, this makes so much sense. Men are jealous of women. Women are able to control their lust and their choices and make choices without lust. Men are fully driven by lust, and they're jealous that women can control that and women can go celibate for long periods of time or just not need sex or sexual intimacy to feel whole and at peace. We don't need those things. That is something that spiritually brings you closer to having a relationship with God, is being in control of your lust and your spiritual and sexual discernment in every and any relationship, even in marriage. There are seasons where you have to work on that when you want to have a closer relationship with God. And the main point is, men are jealous of women and our relationship with God and how God feels and sees us. And it's shown time through time through time. Even with the Pope recently dying politically, it's only men who are allowed to sit in a room and choose a man to be a Pope. There's no woman involved in this decision. They're waiting to hear the voice of God, okay? Tell them who the next Pope will be. The craziest thing is, we all know it's political. They're not trying to hear the voice of God because most men cannot hear the voice of God because they're controlled by lust. They don't have the discipline and the virtues to hear the voice of God. Truly, that is why women have that intuitive, emotional connection, that we are able to connect to our divinity to meet God on a higher level. And these are huge things that have altered my brain chemistry over the past few months to truly see the world in a different light and see myself in a different light and see my relationship with God in a different light and how it brings everything together. Women have always been told for hundreds and hundreds of years that you're lesser than to a man. You're lesser than this. You're lesser than that. To power, to physicality. I can't ignore physically. They are stronger, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and our relationship with God and who God vies to protect and speak to the most are women. Because we're actually able to be present quiet our minds, and work on ourselves to get to those places that we can have that kind of relationship with God versus a man. And a lot of these preachers and pastors and men that go to church, those are the ones you're supposed to be careful of. The ones who are constantly preaching about God. Those are the lustful ones. They're constantly going to church to be forgiven, to look for God to forgive them for their lustfulness or for their choices, only to still not regulate themselves to get to a point to be disciplined. They're using God as a scapegoat to nullify their thoughts. And it's the craziest realization that you can have when you're able to actually see that in its full affinity. That really altered my brain chemistry. Felt like when I had all of these realizations at once, it felt like I was like to my stomach for a week. It felt like I had like the flu come over me. I'm just like, wow, all these old beliefs are being shed, and it's like this new light has been like around me. I'm just like, what is happening? I feel like a Pokemon that's evolving. But that is how my relationship with God has been evolving. I've been studying other religions for years. That has not changed my religion. I've been studying it just to see the connections that it all has together, and a lot of it is not very different. I've been studying the Gnostics texts, and also I've been reading the hidden books of the Bible. The reason why I have such a weird relationship with the Bible and I only take it with a grain of salt is because there were literally a group of men who sat in a room like hundreds of years ago and decided which books to include and which books to exclude to fit their narrative. So of course I studied in every perspective. I read a lot of the hidden books of the Bible to gain a better understanding of the Bible, and a lot more of the Bible makes sense when you read those books. But at the same time, it reminds you your relationship with God is yours. It's not with the church, it's not with the Bible, it's with God. And it's about your integrity with God. It's about your trust with God. It's about God being within you and using God as that guiding spirit to make certain decisions. We're always constantly looking at people in the church community, people in our family being like, they're my elder, they'll know better for me. No, your relationship with God is just for you. Having to counsel others in the name of Christianity or your religion being like, they'll know better. No, you have to understand religion and spirituality. That is something that you have to discover for yourself. And spirituality is only connected with you becoming your most authentic self and understanding who you are to your core. Not who people tell you are or who people tell you should be. Who you are, what you feel is morally right and wrong. Learning what you don't like, what you do like, is going to help the world. It's not going to help the world. That's going to make you happy. Your relationship with God is encompassed by the fact of who you are truly and deeply to yourself. When you become happy with yourself and you are doing things to make yourself happy and not just others, you want to help others as well. That's why I say, even if you are getting married and you want a family and children, there's a hierarchy. God, you, your husband, and then your children. Because when you're filling your cup, when you're honoring God, and then you have that relationship with God, and you're not putting a man and your children above that pedestal, only God goes on that pedestal. That period, point blank period. And then you're pouring into your cup, you are able to be happy and actually genuinely pour into others' cups. So yes, being selfish is a good thing to an extent. There's a difference in selfishness. Selfishness where it is ego-driven and you're hurting others is different. But selfishness in the way where you want to genuinely be happy and you know that happiness is going to help you pour into others, whether that's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, you will do it because it opens you up energetically to give from a place of abundance, but also it's going to help you become much more careful and spiritually sensitive with your boundaries of who you give to and see people for who they are. When you start giving to yourself, you'll see how much of a giver you were and how much you were left with. And you will start giving to people accordingly. I believe in only one God, okay? And God is an all-encompassing spirit. It could be the universe to you. I universally believe that we all believe in the same God, but we genuinely have to use our discerning spirit and connect to our spirituality. That takes a lot of self-regulation. I definitely want to make a video, especially when it comes to our femininity and how to self-regulate ourselves to be able to open ourselves up to to connect to our higher self, to our relationship with God. Once I've been able to do this, I don't seek validation or guidance from people outside of me, because I use my moral compass and I use my affinity and relationship with God to make choices now. And that is the most whole, peaceful feeling that you could have. I've never felt more anxiety in my life when I've had to have this feeling where, oh, an elderly person in my life is going to know better than I do. You know, put this trust that our parents will know better for us. Our grandparents will know better for us. No one should know you better than you. The moment that you do that, you lose yourself. In order to find yourself, you have to trust yourself to take that journey. No one should know you better than yourself. That is a dangerous place to be controlled. You need to take ownership of yourself and your life, so you don't allow people and things to control you. Your beliefs, your loved ones, anyone that comes into your energetic sphere. Because truly, in this world, I just want you to be happy. I want women to be happy. The fact that we have the resources and the abilities to have these conversations now, I'm so grateful. And I'm honored that I was actually born into this life. Like an old soul, I feel like if I was born in the 90s, I wouldn't have been able to have this journey, because I wouldn't have had the resources or the access to information that we do right now to become our highest selves. I feel like I just ranted out loud and I don't know fully what I ranted, but I hope you accept this with an open heart and open mind. And if there's anything in this conversation that you want to touch on a little bit more, I know I definitely want to touch on emotional regulation and why marriage isn't the goal in this life, and still learning a lot more about my spirituality and my relationship with God. But I feel such a sense of peace knowing that my relationship is not full. I won't say fully evolved, because I don't think you're ever done evolving in this life. You're never done learning. But I feel so much more closer to who I'm supposed to be. And I feel so much more confident in who I am right now than who I was even a few months ago.
Subscribe and like for more content like this, Queens. Till next time.
Thank you for joining my YouTube video. I hope to see you very soon, next week actually, because I'm holding myself accountable.